friends, Ed DaCosta. I'm so glad you're here. I have got a powerful lesson for you if you have any interest in the world of coaching, whether you're a coach or whether you're a potential client or whether you're an existing client of a coach. These are the 3 rules for great coaching. Now, I could have created any number, but I'm just going to keep it at 3. This often comes up in the early days of my coaching with executives, particularly those that have had other coaches in their past, because there are just so many people. I'm going to resist making this a long story. There are just so many people that are calling themselves coaches that absolutely break 1, 2, or in many cases, all 3 of these rules. And they're really not coaching, or if they are coaching, it's extremely weak coaching. So these are great rules. And if the person you're coaching, or if you're a coach and you're not doing these things, come on now, you can do better than this. So the first one is listen for truth versus assumptions. You know, there is no objective truth. Every one of us has our own unique perspective. One of my good friends talks about the beach ball. 2 people are holding a beach ball. You see different colors. It's the very same beach ball, but you have a different perspective and see different colors. I see red and green, you see yellow and blue, you get the point. It's simply a metaphor. But so often when a client is talking about an obstacle, a challenge, why they're stuck, why they're feeling frustrated, why they're feeling ineffective, it is based upon an interpretation of what someone else is doing, or a particular set of circumstances, or an assumption about people, an assumption about the circumstances that they're in that is not necessarily true. And so an effective coach helps raise the awareness of the client as to another way to interpret it, another way to look at it, which again gives a more well-rounded perspective to the client. And it helps them quite often see that they were pigeonholed in a particular area based upon an assumption they had made that really had no basis in truth. They needed to go verify it or ask the question. That is a huge differentiator. The second is to avoid the pulpit. When you're telling somebody what to do, when you're giving a moral or ethical lesson to your client, you are not coaching. So avoid the pulpit. Let them tell the story. Let them stay in the center of the conversation. Whether you have what you believe is a better idea or a better strategy or something you did years ago, you can call that being a friend or being a mentor, but it is absolutely not coaching. So what you do is you ask questions. And anytime you feel yourself drifting into that area where you're about to tell them what to do, you've got to condition yourself to hold that statement and replace it with a discovering question, something that discovers how they're feeling, how they're thinking, what options they have. A huge, again, differentiator between effective coaching, great coaching, and just run-of-the-mill or really poor coaching. And the final one, and this is probably the rarest of all, or the most common, depending on your perspective. It's very, very common in weak coaching. They're coaching the situation. They're coaching the circumstances, whereas great coaches are coaching the individual. It's really easy when someone is telling you a story to get caught up in the circumstances, get caught up in the details of the narrative of the situation that they're in. And while even great coaches, you have to listen to that, what you are listening for more than anything else is how the individual is thinking, feeling, and behaving during those circumstances, so that your questions are, again, not so much about the circumstances, how can you get out of that circumstance, but what assets, what values, what principles do you have? What skill sets do you bring to bear? It's analogous to that old, give a man a fish and he eats for a day, teach him to fish and he eats for life. Well, when you're talking about just the narrow set of circumstances that have caused the dilemma, the challenge, the obstacle for the client. And if you just spend all of your time on that, what have you done? You've helped them with that particular set of circumstances, and you haven't necessarily, or at all, increased their awareness of themselves. And when you do that, when you focus on the individual and how they're showing up and how they're thinking, how they're feeling, how they're acting, they can then apply that new knowledge, that new awareness, that new confidence to a wide variety of circumstances, and not just the precise circumstances that caused you to have that session in the first place. So my friends, I hope you found these helpful. These are the 3 rules for great coaching. Again, I'm Ed DeCosta, and I hope you found this helpful. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.